This is a video for those of you who are not in your 20s and you're thinking about making a change. You're thinking about starting over. You're thinking about starting a business, or you've just reached the point where you know that you're not doing exactly what you want to do in your life, and it's time for you to get on a different path. So often we get blasted in the media about all the young kids who are killing it, all of the 19, 20, 21-year-olds, all the Mark Zuckerbergs that we hear about. And those stories make us feel behind a lot of the time. I will submit to you, however, that they need people with more seasoned experience in order to be the glue that keeps everything together. The first thing that you should know as you're starting over is that there are a ton of people who have started later in life than you and done amazing things. Now, we've all heard the story about Colonel Sanders, who didn't start KFC until he was like 150 years old or something. And then people say, well, Noah didn't even build the ark until he was 400 or something like that. All of that falls on deaf ears with us because we don't know any of those people. But if you look at your network, or at least the people that you follow who are successful entrepreneurs or successful leaders online, you can find lots of examples. I like to start with people that I know personally. For example, one of my heroes, one of the people that I look up to the most and have spent a lot of time and money just sitting at his feet, is Gary Vaynerchuk. And I love the fact that Gary Vaynerchuk started over with nothing at 34. People will say, well, he started with a $2 million business or a $3 million business or whatever it was. But at 34, he walked away from it all with no equity, very little cash in the bank, and started a brand new company that's called VaynerMedia. And it was the thing that catapulted him to a new level of success. And it took him several years to really hit pay dirt after starting VaynerMedia. I mean, I love the story about how he started that company from the conference room of someone else's business because he had no money to get it off the ground. He was 34, I just turned 34. That makes me really excited. Also, one of my best friends in the world, JP Sears, did not release a single funny video until he was 34. He did other videos that were utter failures, at least in comparison to the success that he has now. He now has one of the largest followings in his space and has done exceptionally well and is known and recognized all around the world. Every time we hang out, we go to a restaurant, he can't leave his house without somebody recognizing him. But he didn't start making any funny videos until he was 34. My friend and mentor, Josh Bizzoni, had other businesses, but he didn't start his winner, the thing that became a 9-figure company, until he was 38. That would be like me starting a business 4 years from now and finally hitting pay dirt. So it's tempting for us to point the finger at people who are ahead of us, who are younger than us. Like, how often do we ask that question? How old are you? And we're in our brain just comparing to see if we're behind or if we're ahead of them. It doesn't serve us. Instead of looking at the breaks that other people got, look at the people who started at your age. And the good news is, if they started at the same age as you have more opportunities than they did when they started. See, that's the second point that I want to bring to your attention. And that's that there's so many more opportunities than existed 10 years ago. If you're starting over now and you have the experience and the network that you built in your 20s, there's so many more opportunities today than there used to be. If we look at what's happening in the crypto space, in decentralized finance, in e-commerce, in YouTube, in all of the places that are much bigger than they were just a few years ago. A good example of this is I made a good portion of my money by selling products on Amazon and building companies that I then later sold. And Amazon was big when I started, but it was nothing compared to what it is today. It's at least twice as big as it was when I started, probably more than that. There's also a bunch of tools that exist now for Amazon sellers to start getting a piece of that action. None of those existed when I started. There's all kinds of resources and masterminds and trainings and suppliers and manufacturers and marketing opportunities that didn't exist back then. Hey, buddy. That's my son. It's bring your son to work day. So the opportunity to get into the game is much faster and simpler than it was 10 years ago. And you have the experience and the network and the knowledge that you gained in your 20s and your early 30s, maybe your 40s, that you can now leverage to be able to pursue new opportunities that exist newly today. And it's important to know that it's okay to take a step back and reset as you get caught up on the opportunities that exist right now. A few months ago, I had to say, I am way behind in the crypto, NFT, and DeFi space. I know nothing about this, and I'm afraid that it's expanding faster than I can keep up. So I was willing to take the L, take the loss, and say, all right, I surrender. I don't know better than all of the young kids who are killing it in this space, and I'm gonna experiment with all this. And I was the new kid in the room, even though I was the oldest kid in the room. It's very humbling at 34 when you walk into a room of a new emerging technology and you're the old guy. How the hell did that happen? When did I become the old guy? That's so true. When did I become the old guy? How did this happen? For those of you who are struggling with how do I align my past experience and my past network and everything that I know into a new chapter, and you're looking at it and saying, I don't want to give up all of the experiences I've had. I don't want to declare proverbial bankruptcy and say all of it was for naught. Dan Sullivan, who is an entrepreneurial coach, has a great quote about this. He says, the faster that you can treat all of your past experience like R&D, the freer you will be moving forward. In other words, if you can treat your life like it was all research and development to bring you to this point, the point for you to make decisions moving forward, the point for you to start a new chapter, that gives yourself freedom and permission to say, all right, it's day one. It's day one of a new chapter. It's day one of a new experience. It's day one of a new journey. And that can make you feel excited about starting a new journey rather than feeling like it was all for naught up to this point. The third and the most important point that I want to share with you is how quickly things can change in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I'll stop there because life can change and business can change so fast when you are lined up correctly, when you have the right relationships, when you have the right idea, when your skill set is now applied to an emerging market, when you're going out on your own and that offer finally hits. I think the best example in my life has been my friend Alex Hormozy. Alex, just 3 or 4 years ago, was nearly bankrupt. He had lost pretty much everything in a couple businesses and a couple partnerships that didn't go the way that he wanted. Fast forward 3 to 4 years, and he's done over $100 million in top line revenue in his businesses. He has a portfolio of businesses that is doing tens of millions of dollars, and he continues to amass more deals in this portfolio. He has convinced me how fast things can change when everything is lined up. When you have the right offer, you have the right message, when you're uniquely positioned in the marketplace, things can happen so fast. I've now seen how fast things can change in just 2 years or 3 years, maybe 4 years. So your job right now is not to go back and try to fix the past, but to prepare yourself for that 2-year sprint where everything is gonna open up. If you think about it this way, let's just imagine for a second that you have your $100 million payday 3 years from now. Are you really upset about everything that happened in your 20s or your 30s? Are you really that upset about everything that didn't happen up to this point? Or do you instead realize that you were uniquely prepared for this time, for this opportunity, for the opportunities that exist right now, for the things that came to you that gave you that $100 million payday? Are you thinking about that? Or are you still saying, woe is me, about all of the things that didn't work out in your 20s and 30s? I would submit to you that if in 3 years from now, you finally hit pay dirt and you feel really proud of your success, it doesn't matter how long it took to get to that point. So your job is to think about it in that way. You know, there's more opportunities right now. You're more uniquely positioned right now, and things can change so fast. And I'm just gonna focus on making myself ready for that big aha to happen. I'm gonna focus on being prepared for when everything lines up in the way that I am uniquely prepared to take advantage of. So stay curious, stay hungry, stay optimistic. It's so tempting to get beat up by what didn't work out in the past. And so we stay stuck in this mental framework of not there yet, not there yet, not there yet. I feel behind, I feel behind, I feel behind. And that just makes it worse and worse and worse. Your job is to say, it's coming. It might be 2 years away, but I'm gonna spend this time being prepared for when that big breakout happens. And I have the experience and the knowledge and the network that makes me more prepared today than I was 10 years ago. And in 1 year, I'm gonna be even more prepared. And in 2 years, I'm gonna be even more prepared. Then it happens and it lines up and you have your big breakout. That's just simply how it works. Every entrepreneur who has had a big payday will tell you about all the failures that prepared them to get to this point. So what if they were 35 or 45 or 55 or 65 or 75? All of that past experience made them uniquely prepared for now, and now is day one. There are so many opportunities today that did not exist 2, 3, 5 years ago, and they continue to increase. One of the big challenges for people who are not spring chickens is, where do I focus? Like, which one do I pick? And of course, the obvious answer is whatever interests you, like wherever you feel compelled, wherever you feel energy flowing. But if you need some help, I think the first thing that you got to start with is your own business, and the business that you control, the business that you can build and scale and grow and maybe sell someday. And that's what we help people do inside of capitalism.com. If you need some help, if you need some direction, we love working with people who have a little bit of experience, a little bit of past failures, a little bit of a network, because we can help align that behind a brand and a business that you can cross 7 figures and scale and sell. We do it inside of our Capitalism Incubator. And if you wanna see how that works, we have links and resources around this video where we can get you plugged in and use something called the owner's model. The owner's model is a system for you to launch a business where you just stay in the owner's seat. You don't learn all of the weeds and details of the business. You simply bring together the people that you know and the people that you connect with into a system so you can cast the vision and then do the important work, the visionary work, the owner's work, to bring the pieces together to launch a business that you can scale and sell. And if you want to see what we do and how we help people do that, you can find the links and resources around this video. If nothing else, please take away from this video that it is not too late. I know that's cliche, but if you can look at everything like today is day one, like you're starting over and it's an exciting journey and you have nothing to make up for. You don't need to go back in time and make up for all your past failures. You just need to go focus on creating that big success. That is such a mindset shift. I know, because I feel tempted to go back sometimes and say, well, what about this one and this failure? And I gotta make up for this and pay for that. No, you make up for this and you pay for all of that by having the focus on the one success that makes up for everything else. You do that and it doesn't matter what age you are when you start. My name is Ryan Daniel Moran. I run capitalism.com. We empower entrepreneurs to create change. We do it by helping them build businesses and invest the profits. And you can do that regardless of what age you are. Thanks so much for watching this video. Hope to see you later on the channel. Take care.